Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Monday. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend and gearing up for the funny season, the silly season as we call it. Right? Well, I can tell you there's a ton of holiday makers that are arriving here, and I just want to go into recluse mode. So happy silly season, everybody. I hope that you're all enjoying your gatherings and your get together and your families and all of that amazing stuff. But so tonight we have again the wonderful Beverly, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the vampirism again. You know, Beverly is an expert on that, first hand knowledge. You all know how much PTSD her story gives me. Goodness me. Anyway, so we're going to be talking a lot about, we see a lot of the celebrity recycling, um, and some of the internet sleuths have kind of picked up on that as well. So that's drawn my attention to it. And of course, Beverly's going to be looking deeper into it with us this evening as well. But before we go any further, here are this week's notices. So, well, of course, tonight we got Beverly. Tomorrow on Solutions, there's the mini series on the Ankara field. So I did part 7 today, so check it out tomorrow. Very cool. It's explaining, what the Solutions with Shanti is about, really, in the direction we're going and the essence and the energy of which we need to move into a more harmonious space. I do see on the schedule tomorrow is spiritual forensics, although it is not tomorrow, guys. So Beverly will not be here tomorrow and Monday next week. So please just make a mental note of that. But let's see, we might be able to play a rerun, I think, a rerun or two that we actually have at Beverly's as well. But let's just see how that all pans out for next week. Keep an eye on the schedule and you will see. And then, of course, Double Trouble with Jesse on Wednesday. Check that out. Dennis Carroll again live on Wednesday with me. And then Drop In with Shanti on Friday on both channels. And Saturday, yes, had a great interview with Jerry Marzinski and Jamie J, which was supposed to be going this past Saturday, but we pre-recorded. We didn't go live, so we're putting it on Saturday again. Very, very interesting conversation with Jerry Marzinski and Jamie J. Really, really great information, those two. I like to call them brain boxes. They really are brain boxes. They've got such incredible information and knowledge of the mental health industry. You all know Jerry is, well, if you don't, Jerry Marzinski has worked in the mental health industry for many years, and so has Jamie. So they were kind of collaborating on stories, which is really fascinating. So, and so just keep an eye on the schedule. There are probably going to be 1 or 2 more shows that pop up during the course of the week. Yes, bonus time. It's Christmas. Keep an eye as well on the community boards. We've got some cool stuff we're planning for the next few days as well. And I want to just tell all the South Africans, check it out. I hope this is the right one. Yes, the Honeycomb Tales, Adventures from the Ankara Field is now available in South Africa and Namibia. Guys, that we got the hard copies here, but we only have limited stock. So for those of you who want to buy a copy, please, you need to pre-order with me. I'm receiving the books next week. So it's crunch time. It's very quick. It's like crunch time before Christmas, and Namibia as well. I've already had quite a few pre-orders, so let me know if you guys want to pre-order. That's for South Africa and around here as well. And of course, check out Amazon for amazing Christmas gifts if you're looking for that amazing gift to give to someone special. Doesn't have to be a child, someone who's rediscovering their inner child, as everyone should, right? Beautiful gift to give. and lots more to come from this where this one came from, that's for sure. And of course it will be, hopefully, and I think it is going to be available in French on Amazon. So for the Frenchies, we have Certainly Not Forgotten You. The Honeycomb Tales Adventures from the Ankara Field is available on Amazon, soft cover and hardcover, and on Kindle. And it's coming soon in French. And wait for it, taram, Spanish. Yes, Spanish as well. And a couple more languages we have in the pipeline. So, yay, grab your gift. Thank you. That'll be so cool. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all in the chats. And welcome to Monday. Welcome to the show with Bev and I, where we dig deep into some very, and dig up some very inconvenient truths. And without any further ado, tadam. Madame, how are you? Nice
Hello,
to see
as you
you.
can see, freezing cold, freezing cold. Got all the
As
heavy
you can see,
pullovers.
whew,
Yeah, you nice and hot there. It's freezing here. As I sit with you, I even have a little blanket over my tootsies because I'm chilly, 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 chilly. But that's how it is this time of the year in the UK. It's very cold. But you look nice and summery, nice and springtime, nice and warm. Wow, awesome.
today's probably been one of the warmest days so far. So that's why, I mean, it's like 6:30 in the evening. Usually
Wow.
at this time I'm sort of covering my shoulders because it's getting a little bit nippy, but it's still super warm out there. And of course, as I was saying, the holiday makers are arriving. I'm so scared of them.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
But
Get on the direction. Oh my goodness. Enjoy though.
oh
Remember in the
goodness,
heat, make sure you water your plants because it destroys, just absolutely destroys the plants because they can't drink.
absolutely. I mean, my my little my veggie patch and my herb garden and my plants have all been watered twice today, and they're super happy. And
Oh,
they've just been composted and everything, so everything's growing beautifully.
oh,
I've got strawberries that the tortoise hasn't stolen yet, so hopefully
oh,
tomorrow I'll go there. I'll get there because it should be ready by tomorrow, the one, and then I'll
oh,
get there
good.
before the tortoise.
Yeah, tortoise will like them. They can sniff them out a mile away. They're so cute. They're so cute. This is a very interesting topic we've got today, haven't we? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. But yeah, that's what, the celebrity switch is what we call it, because
That,
we're seeing so much. And maybe just while we're chatting about it, Bev, I can bring up one or two images, right? Um, there was one of Larry Hagman. There we go. Now, this is super interesting. Now, these are just obviously the stalls, but there's this guy calls himself the fittest flat Tyler, the fittest flat earther, I think his name is. He's got a channel on YouTube and I think Facebook as well, where he really, this guy's pretty phenomenal because he does match these pictures incredibly. And they are like not just the obvious things, but facial markings, like where the one used to have a mole. Now you'll see there's a mark there, but the mole, it's like the mole has been removed, right? There are similar markings on the faces. For me, I'm not sure about the height though. I would be interested
mhm,
to know about how tall these clones are, right? So that for me,
yes.
or whatever they are. But it's very interesting. So I would love to hear your take on what this is here and what's going on here.
Well, the first thing that's very interesting about the Larry Hagman individual was and the energetics that actually took him out, that took out the physical body. And what was very interesting to me is when I had a look at that, I thought, oh my goodness, how typical is this? He had stage 2 leukemia, but also that he had stage 2 from the throat, big C, which is quite amazing because both of those would be beholden to and acting upon what the blood system was doing, the red stuff. So it's very interesting to me to understand, well, actually, took him out, the original host body, what took the original host body out was the big C and part of this stage 2 leukemia. So, and we know that the parasite is the one that goes into the blood system. So that's very much part of where we see that causing that shift, and where he's making it ready for the host to take on a different energy body or energy signature within another body. So I find that those energies, if you look at the two people, the two energies are very, very similar. They have also identical birthmarks, facial marks are the same. They also have a difference of preference in their personality. That is also the same. So there is a lot there that you could quite easily say, hang on a minute, this person could very well be the Larry Hagman that we see of old. But Larry Hagman only went across into spirit in 2012, and that was on the 23rd of November. So, he would have had to have had some time period between being here, being up in spirit, and then coming back down again. So whatever the situation is, it must have happened after 2012, not before 2012, if that makes sense. So from that side of things, we're looking at the eye colors, and we're looking at some of the nose, the nasal features, as well as the lips. And I've all right down to some of the smaller items on his face. There are individuals that have compared and contrasted the two very significantly, because they believe that there is that possibility that there is that celebrity switch that has taken place. What's your view on this, Shanti?
It's so confusing to me. I'm not gonna lie. It really, really is, because it's what I'm hearing, and what some people are alluding to. It's like this transferred energy.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, is it cryogenics, where they freeze themselves and they come back later, or they clone or whatever? I'm not sure how it works. But it's definitely, and the thing is, what he also points out is that you can take even brothers' faces and twins' faces, you can put them together and they're not the same. They don't match.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And but with this sort of thing, there are some identical and definite matches. So I'm wondering, yes, absolutely. Or was he taken out then? Um, is this some kind of reincarnation ritual? Are they working on weird timelines? Because there are certain things that are, irrefutable. How does it get to be like that? How do they still have the same birthmarks, the same hairline, the same noses? I mean, the nose is something, it's like a fingerprint, right? You can't replicate someone's nose. And that's quite an obvious thing, or ears especially. So, how do they actually do this? It's so weird for me to imagine, because that's kind of where my mind hasn't quite wrapped itself around that yet. I'm quite honest with you.
Yeah, it is quite something. It's a very unusual energy. I think what we can also to have a look at is, where are the timeline telling us? Is the timeline possible? Because when you vacate one body or husk, you have to be able to send that energy somewhere. It has to go somewhere. It has to live somewhere. It has to be able to go and take residence up in a particular body somewhere. So it's very interesting to see what level of functionality the Larry Hagman person was at during the time that the husk would have been busy making ready for him to connect with that particular husk.
When you say a husk, you mean another body, right?
Yes, it is another body. Yeah.
So then it would be like a transferal of consciousness as well. Or is
Yes.
it just the body? Because they would have used, are they using similar DNA? I don't know, how do they match these guys so closely? That for me is the mystery. And can they split the energy and have one energy in two different bodies, if you know what I'm saying? How does that
Yeah.
work? And how does that link in to vampirism the way we understand it?
Mm. Yeah, they're very good questions. They do link in to a degree. Obviously, through co-location, where you've got an individual that can locate their physical body, be seen somewhere else, and co-locate them in two different areas. That's not just a vampire trait. There's many remote viewers around the world can do that, and also they can get seen or get viewed as an energy source. They can see this twinkling energy, and people will then realize, okay, we've got somebody that's entered the room. So obviously someone that's not here physically, it could be far away, another planet or another continent, even South Pole, North Pole, could be any of those, and that shining energy atmosphere is going to be perceived, definitely. So they can also co-locate and be in two places at the same time, one living your dream or living whatever it is your life is, but also be on a different planet or a different system, or working with others that you know and trust. There's also that opportunity for everyone.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Yeah, there's
Okay.
just another one, the Matrix guy,
Yeah.
the Michael Hutchins from
Mm, mm.
NXS. And again, look at that face comparison. It's identical. That's what I'm saying. It's like, yes, you can have surgery for minor things. You can have no surgery. You can have a touch up here. You can have a touch up there. Of course, you can. You can even change the shape of your eyes so that it's not obvious. But when you start looking deeper, there are certain things that don't go away, like the lip line, like the noses, those noses. And okay, the hairline, you can play with, boys, you can play with a hairline. But what's your take on that? I mean, that to me is always, again, interesting.
Yeah, the hairline is similar to like epithelials, items that would come out of the natural body during that particular time. So it is not necessarily a giveaway. It might be a giveaway in looks, but when you're looking at the deeper energies and those vibrations, it doesn't really say that much. Hair is literally just hair. It's a natural bodily function. It grows out of your head or grows out of your chest if you're a man, it grows out of a particular area in a particular way. So it's not something that they're going to feel has to be, very, very different in order to assimilate and to be able to take on this energetics that's coming through from those that are now called vampires that are transitioning into new bodies, new hosts. So it's not the easiest one, but it's not a big telltale cell, because where the energies are, that's your biggest. If you follow the energies, you will always get to the end result, which is where you wanted to be. So either meeting one of these people, I use the word people loosely, creatures, or alternatively finding a way that they can actually overtake and do these things.
Okay, well, I'm just seeing there might be one or two there that I've just shown, but there's quite a few here, but I don't want to go into it too much. I think there's another one there. Whoever that is, I'm not sure who that is.
I don't know who that actress is.
But then, I mean, look at that again. Look at that face symmetry.
Yeah, it's the same. It's very odd to get a face like a particular shape nowadays. They're not like that a lot at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so I don't know if any of you guys in the chats have any ideas on this. Um, Pop it in the comment section. Love to hear your comments on what that's all about, if you have any
Yeah,
ideas. But you also
very.
have some. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, we've got some with some. I was looking particularly at the Larry Hagman switch. because that would have happened post 2012. And that was where those energies were moved across. So, yeah, there are a lot of them happening, but they happen sort of under the radar, where there are individuals that are high worth individuals, high net worth individuals, and very high on the reputation banner. So if you look at somebody, they're going to be high up there. They're your movers, your shakers, your influencers, people that could actually influence other people, and not just one or two people, like a whole bunch of people could be influenced by those individuals very, very easily. That's what they're looking for. That's what they want. They want individuals that they can mold, manipulate, and change. And this shows up in the aura too.
Yeah, definitely that can transition.
Exactly. Very scary.
Okay, do you want me to add the female vampire?
We did the female
Which one do
vampire
you want me to
last.
add first?
I think we add
Okay.
the one that's got the egg shape with all the
The
black.
energetic.
Yeah, the one with black bits is
Okay.
probably the best one. So this is when you can see in the background all these individuals. These are heads and shoulders of individuals. So those would be individuals that person that's in the egg shape would have had to have removed any life force from those individuals in order to be able to survive. So that's key here. This is dark because this person is always in survival mode. Is not in a mode where they can just be, oh, okay, let's be calm, it's fine. No, they're constantly pulling out, trying to pull people towards them, understand what they are, people pulling them in and making them feel special, making them feel different, so that this individual has a lot of individuals around them, which is where either psychic energy has been drained or alternatively life force from the body itself has been drained. So this is the one when I was looking particularly at the Larry Hagman energy. Did you have any questions about that?
Wow. When you say particularly the Larry Hagman energy,
yeah,
how are you correlating that to him? Are you saying that this is actually his energy, that who he truly is authentically? Because that's not very nice energy.
Yeah, no, that's not the greatest. It's a bit icky. But I think that is part and parcel of where he was coming from, because the Larry Hagman person did become a little bit, not disorientated, but wasn't overly happy with the way things were across where he had been living all of his life. Very, very difficult individual, had a lot of stuff to deal with, and that shows in there. He did start off, I will add, you can see the egg shape there, so the toroidal field is there. There is that white area around him. And it wasn't until much, much, much later in a chance meeting that he was then earmarked to be the same as somebody that needed to come along. So he needed to allow that energy person into their body, and then they would be ready for the next incarnation, which is who he's being transitioned to.
Is there any way you could have transitioned to that, or to started transitioning to that actor?
Yeah, definitely.
Before,
I agree.
how long can they do that? How long can they? Because to me, it would almost be like an REM type thing, where they would do that almost like in a dream state.
Yeah.
That there's actual machines and things plugged to their head and their ears and stuff like that, where there is this type of transference.
Exactly.
So, but it's not necessarily Larry Hagman's memories, because you don't really want those. It's more just the energy, the consciousness, right? So it's not necessarily a memory, it's a consciousness.
Yeah, it is. You're
What
right.
do you say about that?
Yeah, I think it is. It is the consciousness. Some bits and bits would be a memory, because it's something there that was there.
Yes.
You saw it, it's there. But a lot of it is the consciousness. And also they draw down on that. They do, because they have to. They have to keep playing the game. I mean, for them, it is a big game. They just have to pull the wool over a human's eyes. Oh, ha, ha, ha. They didn't see this. They haven't got it. And that's why they do see it. as it's for them. It's unfortunately, it's more a survival. It's a survival game. That's the game they're playing.
Yeah, and survival, because obviously something in them feels that they don't have what it takes to um, connect to natural, the natural
Light.
God force, right? So they have to steal it. But yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah, I
interesting
agree.
with Larry Hagman.
Yeah, I agree, because if you have a look at what's below him in that circle of his energy coming from the earth phase of Gaia, there is a lot of ancestral activity, a lot of sadness across the ancestors. All of that is very much part of what is happening. And that's why it needed to be cleared as quickly as it did, because it was not a healthy state at all. Absolutely not.
If you look around that, and what's coming through to me now as well, is that part of this person, Larry, whoever,
Yes.
um, if I go back, right back in a far timeline, he was extremely poor. There was a
Yes.
lot of poverty in his energy. So he walked through uh, lifetimes of poverty. And I feel, and as I'm looking, I don't know, tell me what your take is on that. If I'm looking at that red dot at the bottom, it's like that's just telling me that he actually encountered some dark
Exactly.
forces. And along
Mm.
the way, he was then promised and groomed.
Yes.
And yes, it's like he let his greed, because suddenly all that poverty consciousness transformed
Yes.
into this overt sense of hunger and power.
Yeah, it's really awful to get to that stage, but that is what does happen sometimes. It's all consuming, and it was in his case all consuming.
But I feel also with him is that he's done a lot of people a lot of damage in on his way up, if that makes sense.
Mm,
He
mm.
hasn't really cared who the hell he tramples on. He doesn't really, he has no conscience, he has no moral compass, this person.
No, none at all.
Very,
Yeah,
very pseudo, like very narcissistic, so can play that lizard tongue. It's like those things coming out of the side of it. It looks like a lizard tongue to
yeah,
me,
it's
snake
awful.
tongue.
Mm.
Like, yeah. And like I feel he's high up in the occult. That's for
Mm.
sure. He's definitely engaged in the occult. He's been um, marked. He's controlled. This guy's so controlled.
Yeah,
He's
very,
he's
very
part of
busy.
that cult a long time ago. And you know what I feel with him is that he can role play different roles. He can actually. He can. He's got that octopus energy. It's almost like he can um, create more versions of himself. That's
Yeah,
what I feel. Yeah,
very
it
easily
it
too.
wouldn't surprise me that he. And it's not. You know what it is? It's like I was thinking about how does he actually the soul transference, but that's not even his energy that is transferring into his eggs or his clones. It's stolen empire, vampire energy that's actually harnessing those bodies, the other bodies. It's not authentically his. He's stolen a whole lot of energy, this guy. He's like got lots of it stored up.
Yes, and that's a
Jeez,
pity.
that just gave me the
Stored
creeps.
up energy. Oh, it's really, and you can see he must have started out. I mean, he's got some of the good colors at the back. If you just ignore all of the black bits and all of the other sort of slithery type bits, originally he would have started off as a real good little kid. Yes, he would have had a hard upbringing and things, but he, he didn't know his right from his wrong. He knew what he had to do. He knew what he took responsibility for. He knew what adults took responsibility for. He knew all of that. And that just automatically, I think, seemed to fly through the window.
I think he's got so much unfinished karma. So I think, yeah, he probably did come in through that innocent lens of a child. Every child, in my opinion, is innocent, and they have that ability to move either way. And again, depending on their parents too.
Yeah, of course.
But this lusty energy with him has been there a long, long time. Yeah, he's paying some, and I'm not surprised there's health issues because what you consume now consumes you. You can only consume other people's light for so long before that turns on you, and unless you've understood karma, you're going to continue to be sucked up by this. And I feel like that's what happens with him. And his health goes. He's always had health problems.
Yes.
There's always been some sort of a health problem. And he has it's easy for him to project that energy because he's and this is now, it's interesting with the vampires because I'm wondering if this is how it is with a lot of them. If I look at this energy, because it's with this guy, it's easy for him to project another version of himself into existence, and it's easy to clone that physically. He's good at that. Like he can do, I don't know how exactly it works for him, but I see he can do that. But then that energy is infused, or that husk, as you call it, is infused with stolen energy. Energy is harnessed, so they automatically become vampires. He's just one big vampire, and everything that comes off him is just vampire, vampire, munch, munch, eat, eat. And look at all that 111 watching and 1 like.
Yes.
So that was very interesting. As I said, that creepy, creepy.
Very,
creepy.
very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And I think also with them that they get to a point where they realize, they've got to really tie up all their wealth, and I'm talking financial wealth. They have to tie it up, with a ribbon on, with a group of lawyers or solicitors or people that handle legal things, so that when they come back to claim what was rightfully theirs, they don't get given the runaround. And that's what I see. He definitely would not have been given the runaround, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's an interesting character, this one.
Yeah, it's a very strange, very icky, I must say. It's like, no, it's a very icky one. And I just thought, you had the chance to be off this planet. You had a chance to return to source. You had a chance to make good all the issues that you've done wrong, because that's how you've been throughout your life. But you've said no to that. Why would somebody do that? I mean, I don't get it. But obviously he decided that life and living in another celebrity body was what he wanted. I just don't get it. Seriously.
I think it's like I always say, when someone is that greedy that you've got to literally become a vampire and literally eat someone else's blood or drink it, and do things that you do to that extent, that's the level of fear that you have of not having. So and that's where the first thing I saw, if you go right back, way back in his timeline, he's come from a deep sense of poverty. There's been a lot of poverty in his ancestral lines. And it's almost like that sense of poverty will drive him never, ever, ever to want for anything again. So the minute he has the opportunity to make money or something, and someone says, come, let's make a deal, he's all there. And he's been doing that for a long time.
So it's like bankrolling. It's a bankrolling project, bankrolling what he wants. So yes, I think he's definitely, in my view, having a look at all of the others, out of all of the ones, I submitted this one because he is the one to watch. because he's got a lot of mannerisms that are like the Larry Hagman person. And he does like to be the center of attention and continue with products, continue with big stuff, continue to act in the limelight. And I think part of that is quite interesting. I don't know whether you saw the movie called Death Becomes You or Death Becomes Her, where they drink this funny potion-y something that goes down, and suddenly, you know, everything in them is lifted, younger, radiant. The wrinkles aren't there. There's no sun damage. There's no bits and bits of bobs all over your face because you've been, and definitely not a red-nosed reindeer because you've been in the sun too much. It's all actually perfect. And that is when they turn around in the pictures in the movies at that, where the woman says to the leading character, please make sure that you always assemble and make sure that you never come out of your hiding. We have some people that are constantly coming out of hiding and getting themselves seen. And that's very true. Now, we know we're referring to Death Becomes You or Death Becomes Her. And it was on the circuit quite some time ago. So it's a very, very good film. If you're interested in getting started with how these things happen, that's a very good book to start, and then just advance yourself out later once you finish reading each one at a time.
Well, those energies on the outside of the orb, of his orb. I mean,
the
it
energies
looks
on the
like
outside,
figures.
they are figures. So unfortunately, when there are those that have taken their life, it's like the serial killers that we do on a Tuesday, Shanti, where we've got individuals in the back aura, which is people that had given permission to the other soul. So there you are over there. Yes, I give you permission to do away with me. And that year, on that day, under those circumstances, X, Y, and Z, then that one incarnates and then you incarnate until eventually that timeline comes together and the two people end up being together, which is when the prophecy is fulfilled.
Right. Wow. Okay, well, we've seen enough of Octopus Man for one day.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. Goodness me. Wow. Yeah.
Are we done with? Are we done with Octopus Man?
We are done with Octopus Man and his 50,000, victims that he's got walking around in his aura. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. When I saw him, I thought, whoa, this is not very nice. Whoa, go away. Yeah, not good.
And it's amazing, if you think about how did Larry Hagman become famous, and he really only ever played one role
Dallas. Yeah, he did the
in
Dallas
his entire career, which was J.R. Ewing, the oil magnate, and it's like all he ever had to do. That was his character, and that's what he's known for. And to this day, he has never lost that fame. And it's like again, that says something to me when you're looking at these tentacles on the side that are just sucking. It's like he's been drawing on people as a battery for such a long time. He's trading on that name all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the most important one. I mean, I think he did some minor things as well. He's done a few minor things.
Nothing. That's what I say.
There's nothing. His
really...
big one was the J.R. Ewing, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Dallas, J.R. Ewing.
Anyway.
Yeah. He didn't do much. What was interesting as well when I was looking at him and his energy body is that up until the point that he decided to transition, he really had a very big, and this was common knowledge across Broadway, across Hollywood, and all of those areas, that he was very into drink. And he would actually drink quite a lot. He became quite a drinker in his older age. He used to be able to put it away a lot, which meant that, as you know, with drink, it opens up the chakras, opens up the energies, but then it creates this displacement where it's displaced, and you can get these unusual things that attach themselves quite easily into the body. And I think that was part and parcel of what happened to him. Yes.
I somehow think that was always his destiny.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just see from whence he came, it's like I see him so determined, just determined to make money, determined never, ever, ever to be at the hands of someone else again. He's so determined never to, have that poverty and whatever comes along with that. Interesting.
Exactly. And also the other thing which I had a bit of a giggle about. I'll tell you about it anyway. I had a bit of a giggle about it because he was also cast in, I don't know if you remember that movie. I think you probably were way too young for that. But it was called I Dream of Jeannie, which was where he was actually cast as the genie. And and then he fell in love with a human. But he was actually the genie. I mean, and we all know what genies are like. But I mean, and he has this unusual way about it. And I thought, oh, okay. So he gets cast as the genie. So, you rub the lamp, you are my master.
Wow.
And I thought, yeah, I got you in one there, mate. Got you in one. I did laugh at that. That was really fun. That was funny. So, and I think he did go for, because he liked playing with her and being part of that whole genre, if you like. And he did actually ask her to come on one of his shows later on, and they met each other years and years and years and years and years later. I mean, that was from 1965 to 2005. And the lady that played Barbara Eden, who was the I Dream of Jeannie, the lady, then they were two together, and they had still had that amazing energy all those years later. They still had all those amazing energies with each other, and that vibe is like, it's really there. You can see it. So it does show you, like, how is he possible to spin himself off and create these energies and create everything that he needs to do? How is it possible? Well, it's possible because he was probably going through the change. Very interesting.
Very. Okay, let's look at this one. Or do you want the other one?
No, I think we can look at that one. This one here is the more pronounced one. So, as everybody knows, our viewers here and those in the chat and everyone who's listened to me talk about these beings before, is they do have a very different way about them. They're subhuman, they're not human, they're subhuman. But what's very important about them is that they are able to utilize their bodies and walk in sunlight after they are between 500 and 600 years our time, because it's only time on Earth, 500-600 years our time. This energetic body here, this is one of the more dangerous ones. So this would be an image of somebody who swapped out bodies and done the celebrity switch, if you like, a few times, which is what I've created in these bubbles that you see, the bubbles at the back. The bubbles are the bubbles of individuals that were there before, that were part of that celebrity switch and changing. So this person here, you can see at the top of his head here, he has got this new bubble he's starting to move and change with. So he's getting ready to undertake the switch. And this is how it looks beforehand. You've got all of the writing and all of the information. You've got the aura around the edges, which is pure energy based, nothing else, just energy. That's all it is by that time. And then you've got the dark energy, which is whatever the loosh that they're sucking off everybody else. Very definite, extremely definite. And this is one that's now getting ready to say move across. And now I think with today's AI and with these abilities that you've got, machines learning how to take one person's face and have the other person's face and look at the similarities between the two and say, oh, well, he's got two little scars underneath his eye. His nose flares this way. His lips go this way. His hair. And they just use it and plot down what are all the similarities between this person and that person. And that's where they're able to come up with, well, hang on a minute. Has this person gone and changed their identity? Big question mark. Because according to technology, they are exactly the same person. And we know that can't be possible because that other person, not the Larry Hagman person, but the other person, was born as a whole male person to another mother. So we've got a very complex set of energetics where they are able to lay down their energetics and almost like stamp the people that they want and get ready for them then to transition and go straight into other individuals. I will say
Is
though,
that then,
yeah, that's
sorry, you
no,
will
no,
say?
yeah, I will say these individuals, if you have a look at the complexity, you can see this is not a here or there. This is like a really complex situation. These are not people
Yeah.
that would be like, your older man down the road who's been working in a grocery store for the last 40 years and basically manages to get by, etc. Nobody knows him because he doesn't talk to anybody. It's not going to be that type of person. It's going to be somebody that has a celebrity status, that is an influencer, that would be listened to if they decided to go into politics, and actually are those people that are wealthy enough, articulated enough to make a difference. Those are the people that would go through this level of change. Does that make sense?
When you say this level of change,
Yeah.
can we talk a little bit to that? What level are we talking about here? Are we, I mean, I know that we have, I mean, and I'm sort of thinking along the lines of conversations we've had in the past where you've spoken about it really being a process of maybe around 18 months for the transition, if they even make the full
Yeah.
transition to take place. And then I would imagine they'd have to live in a certain way for another 150 years.
Yeah,
Whatever,
probably.
I'm being a little bit
Yeah.
facetious now. But I'm just saying, so are you saying that a person with this type of aura or energy
Yeah.
is someone who's done a few transitions already and
Yeah.
obviously is quite adept in the dark arts or dark magic and
Yes,
has probably
absolutely.
uh, slain a few, call it dragons in inverted commas,
Yes.
to get to the position that they're in, because that's not a nice energy. That looks like Lucy himself jumping up and down in the middle of an orb, like a
Yeah,
little. And
yeah,
if you look at that as well,
awful,
look at
awful.
that. If you look at that face now, okay, look where his hands are. There's like where the purple. That looks like a snake's face. It looks like he's surrounded by a snake's face. The two hands are the eyes, and if you look at like black swirl at the back, looks like the rest of the snake's body. Can you see what I'm seeing?
Yeah, when you block out, you just block out everything else around the edges and just look at the middle. Yeah, it does. It does exactly look like that. That's giving you a few very good clues when you start looking extremely deeply at the image. Yes.
Because this to me is definitely some type of uh, it's snake energy that these people are working with here. Um,
Yeah. Snake-like,
what?
reptilian, snake-like.
Yes. Okay. So I was trying to see snake, reptile, lizard, what? I'm like, okay, because I like snakes. So I don't like to give all of them snakes because lots of snakes are pretty cool, right? But
Mm.
I think it's more symbolic of what it is. So it's that very venomous, in everywhere, hit you, take you when you least expect it, um, paralyze you, drug
Yes,
you,
exactly.
use
Oh
you,
gosh.
all of that. It's like look at that, and I'm going down to where his foot is. It's like at the chin of that thing, and it's like oh, like right there, and it's ready to spit. That thing, yes, it is. These guys work with very. I think there's even more sinister powers that they work with, energetically, not just physically. Energetically, they've been given information from creatures that look like this. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Like, oh, and you look at it and you think sometimes it's right in front of individuals' faces, but actually it's like not seen. It amazes me sometimes, but unfortunately that is the way that it is. I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. And you've got also very unfortunate. The longer the being has been around, the more, when you look at the background, can you see all the heads and bodies of individuals that have been, feeding, helping, being
Yeah.
part and parcel. And this is what they're collecting. So it's very difficult for that person then to have some rest, because they've been pulled in, sucked into this envelope of energy that is not particularly good, and they get stuck with it, which is really, really tragic.
Yeah, they get visited by these things a lot.
They do,
And
yes.
if you, as I said, if you look at, if you, I see in front of me the face, and where his hands are would be the eyes, where the purple or the pink thing, that's like the top of his head, the third eye. So the body is almost like the nose going
Yeah.
down, and there at the bottom where his chin is, it's like a full-on reptilian face looking at me. And there's a lot going on there. There's a lot in this picture. I'll tell you that much. There's a lot of information in this picture,
Were
which is
you
very,
ever
very fascinating. Mm?
Yeah. Were you ever able to get sort of any additional information, or any, when we were tuning into like some of the murderers that we do, and some of the serial killers when we do, the crime ones we do on a Tuesday, were you able to actually look at them and get that connection through the top chakra and think, okay, what is the golden thread now that links all of these together? Because that's something that I've been trying to find for quite a few years, is what is it? What is that vibration that every single one of these serial killers or individuals that are taking lives because they need to stay alive, what is that energy? What does that energy look like that brings everybody together, that this is person that's part and parcel of this cycle? Did you, when you were doing your looking at stuff, did you get anything maybe?
Oh, I haven't looked for that particularly, but that's a very good
Okay.
one to tune into. So
Yeah.
it would certainly be one that I'd like to. I mean, yes. I mean, to me, it would just seem that whichever avenue they can link in, but there is a particular thread. Absolutely, there is a
Yeah.
particular thread that links it. That links it all.
Good.
And yeah, that's what I was saying. It's the first thing I saw when I looked at this picture. I thought that looks like the face of the Vatican
Yeah.
audition room with that face of the snake. This is pretty much a similar thing. It's like, whoa, what is looking back at me here? But this
Because they're
picture is
part and
telling us
parcel
a
of the
lot.
same thing. Yeah, it's part and parcel of the same thing. This is where they
Yes.
hide in plain sight. They're right there in plain sight, in front of us, doing
I,
exactly
I,
what they want to
yeah,
do, just like that.
this is, a, this is a projection from the Vatican. This is, I'm telling you now, this is stuff that's been happening. Um, as I said that about the Vatican, it's just like ding. This is something that comes from some creation or some connection or the gods of the Vatican guys. This is the gods of the Vatican guys. Whoever the Vatican guys worship, this is them, the lizards. This is
Yeah,
them. This is from the Vatican.
it's the
The
same one.
Vaticans create these things. Yeah, the Vatican creates this thing. Whoever in the Vatican, this is coming from there. Um, so to me, yeah, when we're looking at um, atrocities created against humanity, you've got to look at the British Commonwealth, right?
Yes.
And you've
Yeah.
got to look at the Vatican, because even America, by extension, is controlled by the British Commonwealth,
Yes.
or was for a long time as well. And when you look at so many of the atrocities that have occurred, the British Commonwealth is behind so many of them. And even when we're looking back at the First Nations, like even the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings are grid walkers, right? They were
Yeah. Yeah.
never these destroyers when they came in. They were grid walkers, and when they rowed across the ocean, well, not rowed, but when they sailed across the ocean, they weren't sailing on the coastlines. They were sailing on ley lines, basically. And what happened was anything that wasn't Christian, right,
Yeah.
was destroyed. And when you look at the original Vikings and their runes and stuff, that was their way. It's like the Aboriginal people had their way of doing things. The Khoisan had their way of doing things. Of
Yeah.
course, the Vikings had their way of connecting with spirit and God as well. But what happened was then the of course, the British went and started their nonsense with the churches and sending it out to everyone, telling you that everything is evil. And if you do not conform, if you do not become a Christian, you're going to be slaughtered. So Christianity was actually born out of complete bloodshed. They then took over so much of the Vikings' sacred sites and ruins and built their churches on them.
Right on
And
top of
that's
them.
why
Yeah.
the Vikings originally. Yes, and that's why the Vikings then went and destroyed the churches. If the Vikings were like Robin Hood back then, they destroyed those Christian churches. They took those things away and they distributed back to the people. Actually, yes, I'm not saying they didn't do other things, but that's where it stemmed from. So we've got to
Yes.
look at how what were they doing there because this is all linked. It's the First Nation people. That's the link, obviously. You've got to look at the First Nation people and why they came in, what their special gift to the planet was, and how it's been weaponized. That's where we're going to find our thread. That's where we're going to
Yeah.
find our thread, where the thread is. And that's where it's been so distorted.
It has.
Sure.
And the funniest thing is, we've got, because I was, looking back, I was trying to work out when I had to do this babysitting and being the vampire sitter. I was looking back, well, when exactly did all this come about? Because you kind of think to yourself, well, this story about the vampires has been around for years. But then I started looking back at some of the ancient texts and talking to some of the elders and the older people to say, well, what do you recall? What was said by your mother's mother, your mother's mother's mother, and all those sort of things? And they said, well, we all knew that these creatures were around, but we all thought that they stemmed from a major family line or bloodline in France, and that was in the 15th century. And they said there were like some of the particular areas in Italy were also key. So that was Venice is a hotbed, absolute hotbed, Milan and Florence. And then we've got Pisa, which everyone will know for the leaning down a tower of Pisa. And then we've got a little town of Lucca, and then we've got Genoa. So you've got those, and obviously Rome is, oops, it just fell out. Rome is also a key one there. And they're saying that, when I started with this and started asking questions, and they don't like it that I ask questions, like, ooh, is that woman again who asks too many questions. But you've got to ask these questions, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. And I said, like with Rome, why is it that the vamps are able to hide across Rome so easily? And the answer came back and said, well, because it's full of sin. There's lots of ladies of the night, there's lots of drunkenness, there's gambling, and all of those are really, really, really common. Plus, all of the houses in those days and the places where people slept, where their beds were, the beds were made out of big blocks of hay, or they were just made out of hay that had been pushed together and then stitched together to make like a hay bed or straw. So the gap between like the 1% of like hugely, hugely wealthy individuals and the very, very poor people, where people are starving, was ginormous. And that's what gave a fantastic opportunity for this type of issue to flourish. There it was a dreaded
Makes such
institution. Yeah.
makes such perfect sense. The minute you bring that type of debauchery into a community, and isn't it interesting that alcohol, which has been around since the beginning of time, really. I mean, every movie you see, medieval times, you're seeing kings and paupers and princes all getting drunk on whatever moonshine they were making, right? So already
Yeah.
alcohol then, I mean, they talk about marijuana right now as being a bad thing. I mean, my God, marijuana is the holy herb. That to me is the best thing ever. But alcohol is the gateway drug. Alcohol, and they've made it available, freely available to anyone. Kids can go and get alcohol. A 6-year-old man, if he's smart, can go and and get alcohol, right? So alcohol definitely is, because when we the what's the ghoul, the what's it called, the demon, the Latin word is ghoul, which is for the demon that literally takes over the body when alcohol sets in. Like when you've had enough alcohol, um, that's why a lot of people will just suddenly black out. They have no idea what happened. They have no idea what they did. It's like they behave in a way that is completely out of character, become violent, become aggressive. And I also believe certain alcohols will trigger certain parts of the brain that are going to trigger different entities, because of course the trauma that people have experienced in life creates that rip in the psyche for these entities to enter. And especially if there's been trauma at a young age, like now we know with so much SRA, right? A lot of trauma has been created at a very young age for these things to enter. That's how they enter. So sometimes the child has absolutely no control over it, but sometimes it does. Like when you get older and stuff, when you take in huge amounts of alcohol, drugs, you're getting involved in all sorts of spiritual practices that you don't know who the people are. You have you don't have your own protection. Anything, all of this is about what happens when you have not, when you don't know who you are, when you are still searching and seeking, when you are still taking other people and other things word as gospel. You haven't found your own inner compass or your own truth yet. And then that rip is going to create the doorways for these energies and entities to take hold of you. That's for sure. And the more you allow it,
the more it happens. And then you, what I really was amazed at, you get more individuals that start following suit. So what was very surprising is in the late 19th century, Pope Leo, he decided that the All Souls Day would include a blessing for vampires, who then would be going out in cities around the world to have a nice little feast and a few bites on people. And he said directly, he felt that by blessing vampires, that in a way, in a very roundabout way, that he would be blessing the victims and anybody that was bitten both here on the neck and in the groin area. And therefore, that he would be blessing their souls in a very, very, very roundabout way. And although he was very progressive, he figured, that the vampires were going to be out doing what they do anyway. So we kind of thought, well, I might as well just bless them. So keep them out of mischief, so that their bites will be holy. So, I mean, that is one of the silliest things that I'd ever heard of, Your Famous. Seriously. I know.
So that you can have a holy bite.
You can have a holy bite. I mean, really. I was like, what the hell? What's wrong with these people? And then you've got, unfortunately in Mexico, they have a big problem with vampires in Mexico. But what they would do is, a lot of the Catholic priests were actually exorcists, and they used to deal with the vampires as well. And they would issue big warnings about the vampires and what they were doing and how they were doing it and all those sorts of things. And they tried really, really hard to make it positive. And they said, it's not just about the vampires drawing you away from God or the traditional God savior type of experience, but also any sexual advices, as well as alcohol. And again, that comes up again, that is part of the social issue with this vampires, because they can basically drink as much as they like, they can eat as much as they like, because it's not going to affect them, because they don't have to process food anyway or drink. So it's just a very, very, very different way of looking at things, a very different way. And you think, good Lord, this sort of thing is now sparked off all these unusual things. So for an organization like the Vatican to take it that seriously, to go and have a day of blessings for the vampire, I mean, I don't see them doing anything else for any other of the unusual aspects that are out there. They don't.
Well, that kind of just sort of corroborates what you've just said, what I was saying earlier, that whatever this is coming from the Vatican.
Exactly.
It's whatever thing they worship. So if they are blessing vampires so you can get a holy bite, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Like, what the F?
I know, it's very weird. Even when I go and when I told about it originally, I was told about it, I was quite young. I thought, for really, I don't know about that. But yeah, you've got all of that different approach, and they can't be that attentive. They've got to be repetitive, and they've got to be repellent to these individuals and do what they can to push it away. But why then would a big organization like the Vatican, like that specific Pope, be the one that says, actually, I'm going to bless them because, I'm going to make sure all the victims are also blessed? It's like by proxy, really.
That's such manipulation. That's
Yeah.
such spiritual abuse, That's such spiritual manipulation and abuse. That is quite disgusting, actually. My goodness. Okay, well, let's see what the next one is showing us. There we go.
So this is an unusual one because this is more of the female energy, and it's more about the portal and where all the energetics in the middle, where the chakra points, there's lots of different chakra points and extra additional lines that have come in. Because also with the female energy, one of the aspects that is very crude and manufactured within that organization is that female vamps have got the ability to create or bite, we call them younger people, but not people that are so young that they're under the age of 12, which is when the path of destiny, when you're still on your mother's path of destiny. So in other words, you need to make sure that if you're going to be biting somebody, they need to have already taken on the age of coming where they have, yes, this is my path. Yes, this is something that is part of me. Yes, this is something that I'll be doing. This is my path of life. This is my destiny. And that starts age 12. So very interesting with females. They do have the ability to transmute or bite individuals that are much, much, much younger, whereas the males can bite females, but not children.
Why is that? Explain that, please.
Because there is a particular genetic change in a female energy body that is that they are the ones that have the ability, even though they have chosen to change all of their chemical makeup into being vampires, female vampires, they still have an ability to mother within them. They can still mother. They can still see, a little child that needs to be helped, and they will still help. Whereas a male vampire definitely won't do any of that. Has none of those feelings at all in a male vampire. Bit of an unusual one.
The
So
mind
I thought
boggles.
I'd share it. Yeah, there's lots of, it's like, the day walkers, and we've got then the problem with the Hollywooditis, I call it Hollywooditis, where people have created these legends that are being almost accepted into the genre of vampires. Like, oh, they can't walk around during the day. Hell yes, they can. They can walk in during the day. I've seen many of them when I was in America. It's like, oh, okay, I know exactly what you are. They'll look at me and think, yeah, I know what you are too. And we'll just ignore each other or give each other a wide berth on the side look, they go, her. But this is, as long as they're over 500 years old, they can walk in the day. They can. So, Hollywooditis has got a lot to answer for. And, they don't talk about the basic run-of-the-mill items like, if it was a female, can a female, go ahead and bite and consume the contents of a human body that's, say, age 16, 15, 16, etc. Yes, absolutely, you can. Yes. It's probable it will be a female predator or a female vampire. It won't be a male because they're the ones who are seen to be less ferocious and you would trust them more easily than you would a man.
So was it a female that bit you?
No, it wasn't a female that bit me. It was one of the males, but because the male was so many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old, they're able to bite whoever, whatever they like, whenever they like. So yeah, he was much, much, much older, unfortunately, much older.
And so what happens if they don't get their fix? Do they die? I mean, what happens? Do they just like lie there and wither away and go all pale?
Eventually, if they did not receive what they needed to, and it's not to keep what's running in their own veins going, it's to keep their energy going, because it's not just the essence that is within the human body that they're feeding on, it's also the lúsh. And the lúsh really is more important, because that gives you the energy, that gives you the get up and go, that gives you the ability to be able to sustain life and get on and crack on. But the rest of it, the fluids and the bodily fluids that are coming out of bodies, that is really secondary. It's everything else that goes with it to start off with. So really, instead of calling it, vampires, you should be calling it lúsh suckers or lúsh stealers or something like that, because theoretically that's more along the lines of what they're doing.
Lúsh pyres.
Lúsh pyres, I like
Thank
it.
you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. So appreciate your super sticker very much. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm interested. We hear a lot about the vampires being French and
Yes.
that they have come from France. We also hear like strange things about the Frenchies, don't we? Okay, let's start with the vampires though. Why do you think it's mainly, or it started mainly with the French? There's a big vampire community, I know, in Quebec, in Canada, that people always speak about as well. So what is it with the Frenchies?
I think there must have been some form of aristocracy across all of those areas within the French areas. There were a lot of those sort of romanticized things in the Gothic period. And also there was a lot of these individual sort of earls and individuals that had these very high bloodlines, the landed gentry type of thing. And they were very, very high up across all of the world, but they were very able to make sure that they kept all this darkness under wraps. They were able to keep that extremely closed and closeted. And you would get a couple of things. You would get things like you'd see the things. Let me just think. You get names like Godfrey, which means the peace of God, free of God, God's freedom. You get a word like ambrosia. Ambrosia would be, if you saw the word ambrosia, you think, oh, okay, here we go. And ambrosia actually is not a salad. It's another word for a salad, but ambrosia actually means immortality. Who knew? And then you get things like God's salvation, which is the word Joshua, which is a biblical term. So very cleverly, very, very cleverly, and squirming cleverly, you'll see plotting through history. You'll see either as the second name or the third name, because sometimes they'd have 2, 3, 4, 5 names on the registration. And you'd see a lot of these very old, ancient sort of names that were coming up. You would see them and then you'd realize, oh, okay. There was a lot of these French names that you could see over generations. You'd see them going across to New Orleans. You'd see them going across, as you said, into Quebec. You'd see them going across into some of the lesser territories of France. And that included places like, believe it or not, South Africa too. And I mean, you could be a very cunning vampire and generate a lot of wealth for yourself quite easily in South Africa, in Quebec, in New Orleans, in other countries, very, very easily, because the vampires that are there, the old vampires, old school, you would actually be able to trace the descendants. There's one that's called Dorian, and that's that's a vampire, obviously. But his name is a Greek name, and he comes back from part Latin, part Greek, and he's able to mix the two together, and it means light and descendant of Doris. You've also got their Aramaic words as well, like Barnabas. I mean, how many times have we heard the word Barnabas in reflection to biblical sense? But that Barnabas is the Aramaic word for the son of encouragement. So you've got all these different words that mean different things, and these is your breadcrumb trail, if you like, that says, aha, have a look at this, have a look at that. And that's why I was interested when I was looking at Larry Hagman and a couple of the others that we know are suspect or allegedly or could possibly be the switch. Look at the names. How did you craft that name? Where did that come from? You know, and where does it come from and why? And then have a look and see whether those names are in the names of the one that you are suspecting could be a celebrity switch. So if you start looking back at the logic from centuries and centuries and centuries ago, makes it a lot easier then, makes it more pliable, makes it more obvious.
Yeah. Right. It absolutely does.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's even, I believe I've heard somebody
Wow,
else.
this is absolutely fascinating.
Vampire Dictionary is due out, apparently. I was like, oh, okay.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's a
What's a vampire dictionary?
Vampire Dictionary is looking at like all the vampire male names that somebody's been able to research for like 13, 15 years or whatever it is. And and the person was saying, well, I've had a look at some of the names, and these are some of the names, and we believe you've come across some of these. I'm like, what? Which ones? So there was one that came across, which was Anton. And Anton is a vampire male name. I'm like, what the hell? Really means dragon.
Okay, but hang on. I'm thinking about someone here in South Africa, very well known with that name too.
Anton.
So are we? Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's probable. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, more than likely.
Well, his son is running. His son is currently running the country.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they're more than likely, and hopefully they'll come out with this book which explains where everything came from and what it means. I think it's quite amazing. I mean, there's some there that I looked up, you know, and I thought, let me just see if this is in there. Yeah, and one of them, which you'll find very interested, one of the names is Camilla. Which means
well, how interesting.
Blood okay. Is a blood seeker. Very interesting.
But I want to just make it clear that doesn't mean that anyone whose name is Camilla is a vamp.
No.
But what we're saying is that often the vamps will use those names, or mostly they will use those names. So it's good to check out.
Yes, check first. Go and have a look. Yes, Shanti's right. And also, you know, start using the logic. Go back, because history defines the future. History will tell us, look at this and plot what's happening. And that's the other thing I found very interesting. When I started scratching around, I received a message from the council, and they said, I don't know why you're worrying about, you know, trying to educate people with these things, because the humans have really only got 2 years to go and decide what they want to do with themselves. And the way that they're going right now, we know that greed, lust, and the necessity for power and money is what's going to rule them. And we're pretty sure that we can rule them that way. And I thought, good luck with that then. I mean, that's just going to make me even more defined. I am going to say as much as I can say, because yes, we've only got 2 years to rectify ourselves and to become of the light and start working with the light and shy away from, you know, power and these other aspects, you know, finances, sexual power, all those good things. We've got 2 years to make it right, so that we can become crystalline bodies, move away from the carbon side, move away from being attached to these carnal pleasures, and tell me that you've got 2 years to get your message out there. Well, you know what? We're going to carry it on anyway.
Who told you that, by the way? Who said that?
That is these surreptitious messages that, there is a very large, very old elder council that runs all the vampires and runs all of the individuals that assist and provide, nannies to vampires to help them eat properly and to get them to, because it takes a lot of work, it's a long time to get a vamp to move across to be fully hydrated into its new role. A lot of them don't. In fact, I would say the stats are pretty high. It's like 60 something plus percent. They don't make it. They just don't make it. So it's all, they would be the ones that would be governing all of this. So they'd govern any of the covens that are providing the witches that help, any of those darker ones, the SRA individuals that we know, they would be providing that help as well. It's them that are right at the top of it. They're the ones that are above the dark ones that pull the strings way above.
Makes total sense, because as you say, well, they know how to get them. You've got 2 years, because they have money, power, greed. So all they do is really just offer them the golden chalice of blood, and promise them. It's like with the picture of Hagman, the first picture of Larry Hagman, from that place of absolute not having, and then selling himself completely.
Exactly.
And really, now I've got so much, I don't know what to do with it. Well, I'll just make 10 more of myself. Why not?
Why
wow.
Not? Yeah. It's a totally different. And when you really start delving into it and really looking at stuff, and I mean, I've been looking at some of my stuff that I've got in my lockup, because I've got lots of stuff in the lockup, where you put all the extra things that you can't have underneath your nose, put them in boxes and put them in a lockup, and you pay for storage, long-term storage. And stuff that I've got in long-term storage, I spend a lot of time sitting on a box and thinking, oh, I can't believe I wrote that. Oh my God, that is like, whoa, I should be putting that in the books. So you never know, in the future, you might end up getting a small little book about, the nanny vampire, and then all the different things that I know, because it's one of those things that otherwise, if I don't write it down, it'll be lost.
I definitely think that is something that needs to be written down, because I can't say that many people can say they've been a nanny vamp in their lives.
Yeah.
And God forbid that anyone else should ever tell me they've been bitten by a vampire. And they're still living.
Yes, they are still living. This is it. Yeah, still running around. Very strangely so, but still running around. And every time I go here, there, and everywhere, everybody says to me, I just had it yesterday. Somebody came up to me and said, why have you got such long eye teeth? And I said, they're just long. That's how they are. They're very long. But why are they so long? Can I feel them? Oh my God. Do you bite people? I said, no, I don't bite people. Why would I bite people? I'm kind of thinking in my head, I didn't go through the transition, mate. Why would I want to go through that BS? Why would I go through that change? No, I wouldn't want that. But yeah, I still get that to this day. It's like, oh, look, you've got big teeth. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. So funny. Oh, dear Lord.
That's crazy.
Especially this one. It's like this one here. Always this one. Oh, my God, look at this. Have you sunk your teeth in? Have you brushed your teeth recently? Yes. Have you sunk your teeth into somebody recently? No, I haven't.
No, I plead innocent.
Oh, it's
my
too funny.
Gosh.
Oh Lord. Yeah,
wow.
It is funny.
How
I laugh
fascinating.
about it now, but it is. I laugh at it now, but it's not. Sometimes it's not funny. It's like, oh, did you brush your teeth today? Would you like me to come up to you and say, did you brush your teeth today? How do you actually brush those fangs? I'm like, no, they're not fangs, they're just teeth. Too funny. Oh, God. Too so funny.
Oh, wow. Well,
yeah.
Beverly, another fantastic show. Thank you.
I'm glad you
Appreciate all your information again. And I want to just say thank you to everybody for watching and supporting us. And yeah, all Beverly's details are in the description area below. I'm just going to pop her website up quickly on the banner. And just a reminder, please, guys, that Beverly will not be here tomorrow for our spiritual forensics, where we look at the truth behind all the serial killers and their shenanigans. And neither will Bev be here on Monday next week, but we will be back with Bev on Tuesday next week. So join us on Solutions with Shanti next week, Tuesday. If you haven't subscribed there already, please do so. We're going to be doing, and have already started with, really just, that's the healing channel, and where we just bring in everything back into resonance, and we just, we've been on such a crazy journey. So come hop over and join us on the Ankara field, where you get to learn just how awesome you really are.
Perfect.
You get to learn that.
Thank you so much, Shanti. It'd be nice to see everybody as well. Sorry I'm not here for this week, but I've got that huge conference, the Basis Project down in Pusey, where we are doing international disclosure. So nice to see everyone here.
I was going to say, is there anything else you wanted to share? Because I know you're in the conference is coming in the next couple of days. So anything about the conference that you want to share with the viewers?
Yes. So we're going to be doing a couple of really interesting aspects, but they're going to be speakers literally from all over the world. International disclosure. I will be doing a very long 90-minute presentation, and that's going back into my history, going back into what I have been doing and things that I've seen and areas that I've been to which are very strange. Plus, we're also going to be doing an experiment on sending energies out throughout the entire audience. And then we're going to have the Zen cards up on the stage, and then you're going to see out of all those energies of those symbols, which was the one symbol that will be in the audience. And it's quite nice because it means everybody can participate. And it's just proof and evidence that energy does exist, and that energy continues to stay in a room, in a space for a period of time. So yeah, and I'll be also doing some really great auric drawings, the ones that I present here. So if you want any of those, if you want one of yourself even and give it as a Christmas present, you can book that on my website and say, this is the person that I want. This is the one that I'd like you to have a look at. I'd like to see what the aura of my husband looks like, or my wife looks like, or my mum, or my dad, or any of that. So yes, they do make good gifts. It's very unusual. You're not going to get one of them very often, that's for sure. I think you're on mute, Shanti.
Goodness me, everything went on lag there. And as much as what I was trying to unmute, it just wouldn't unmute. Okay, I even forgot what I was saying. Okay, Bev, you and I, maybe if you wouldn't mind just staying on afterwards, we can just catch up about, and then, guys, we won't see you tomorrow night, and I'll see you on Wednesday, Thursday, and all sorts of other days. Watch the schedule as well. We'll be putting the shows up for the rest of the week. Take good care of yourselves, and Beverly, you have yourself a fantastic trip. Look forward to this amazing conference that you and Penny Bradley, who's another amazing guest on this channel, are going to be talking at. So that's brilliant. And I can see everything is lagging now, so I guess it's time for us to say goodbye.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. God bless you all. Take good care. Michael, thank you again for the super sticker. Really appreciate you. Good night, guys. Take it easy. God bless you all. Goodbye.